We are back at the Shark Club in downtown Vancouver for Everything Film. As we discovered earlier, this is Season 2, Episode 3. The little idea that just grows and grows and grows. And we've got a full production team now. We've got cameras, we've got action, we've got lights, we've got everything. Patrick Scheltgen, Joe Leary from the Shark Club. And our guest is Jinjara Mitchell. Now, first of all, congratulations. You're a recently newlywed.
I'm a newlywed, yes.
And she has wed a previous guest of our show.
Yes.
You're Jordan Connor, of course, from Riverdale.
Yep.
And how was the wedding? It was a COVID wedding, I guess, right?
It was, yeah. So we were supposed to get married in August of 2020, which obviously did not happen. And then we rescheduled it to September 2021, and it was lovely. Yeah, we got married in Tofino.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
And Zoom weddings just don't cut it. I'm sorry. I mean, there's things you can do on Zoom.
Oh, yeah.
I was at a Zoom wedding, and it just doesn't have the same effect. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, no shade to those who've done Zoom weddings, but yeah, it wouldn't have been my choice. I think I would have rather waited like 10 years than done one on Zoom personally.
And Jinjara, born in a place that I have, believe it or not, I've never been. Palm Springs, California. All my friends go, you've never been? You got to check it out. How cool is Palm Springs?
I'm surprised you've never been to Palm Springs.
I've been all over California. I've been to Reno. I've been all over the states. I've not been to Palm Springs. And I'm a huge Sinatra fan.
Oh, wow.
And just to stare at his place or something. So what was life like in Palm Springs? Because there's an acting gene in your family.
There is an acting gene in my family, yes. It was fun in Palm Springs. It's definitely like glitz and glam. All the streets are named after famous people from the golden age in Hollywood. Being a teenager in the desert wasn't that fun because everything is separated by highways and nobody really lives in Palm Springs. At least I didn't. I lived in Rancho Mirage, which is like a I don't know, it's like the Coachella Valley. There's a bunch of different cities. Probably the coolest thing about growing up in the desert in Palm Springs was that I got to go to Coachella in high school, which obviously is a very big music festival. Yeah. So that was fun. That's probably what I'd say was my favorite part about growing up there, was being near that.
Now, again, just for the family lineage here, we've had your aunt on the show.
Yes,
who is Camille Mitchell.
Yeah.
Who is daughter of the legendary Cameron Mitchell. So were you wowed and impressed beyond belief when you realized who your family was and the kind of stuff your family did?
Oh, yeah, absolutely, of course, yeah. I grew up watching my grandpa on TV and having kind of like the connection through him to so many incredible people in the film industry has been something I've always been like in awe of. Like I always think about the 7 degrees of separation, and then I think, oh, I'm 1 degree of separation away from Marilyn Monroe. Like that's kind of crazy.
That's a pretty cool stat. Not a lot of people can lay claim to. And I remember, Patrick, because we were talking with Camille when she was on the program about the names of people, and these were just people that were in and out of her life. And again, you don't realize the magnitude. I remember talking to the daughter of Dean Martin, and she was like, it was Uncle Frank and Uncle Sammy. Like, these are the biggest names in the entertainment business.
Wow.
But to her, they were just folks that her dad knew and brought home.
Well, it's interesting. I was thinking about that, and maybe you guys can comment. Is you have to remember this is all pre-social media. We're in a different time. So what does that tell you when people have a legacy that somebody's going to do a YouTube video on like your grandfather, like last week? You know what I mean? Like there's still content coming. To me, that means that you really did something, incredible. You're not like, I just did something to be on social media or TikTok last Thursday.
Yeah.
And I think, so at the time, maybe it wasn't as big of a deal, and maybe it's grown. You know what I mean? Like it's grown over time to even be better and more legendary.
Well, I'll give you an example. I interviewed Adam Cohen years ago, who's the father or the son of Leonard Cohen. And Leonard Cohen is one of these revered, iconic musical figures. And I said, what is it like knowing that your dad is Leonard Cohen? He goes, well, he's just dad. He goes, I've seen the guy sit at the breakfast table in his underwear.
Yeah.
Right.
He's just dad. To the rest of the world, he's Leonard Cohen, the legendary musician. So I guess it's kind of like that. But what was that? It wasn't drilled into you, obviously, but because you had this family connection, did that inspire you? Did you say, yeah, I want to do what my aunt does. I want to do what Grandpa did?
Yeah, absolutely. I 100% have been inspired by my family in pursuing my career in acting. Yeah.
So what was it that you particularly wanted to migrate towards? Because was there any type? I mean, I know you do a lot of voice work. We'll talk about that in a moment. But was there anything in particular that just kind of said, "Yep, that's for me. That's what I want to do"?
Yeah, actually, I took my first acting class when I was about 7 years old,
Okay.
and I was studying at the Banff Center for the Arts, so that's in Banff, Alberta. And I was a bit of a shy kid, and I also was a very serious kid, like very serious. I didn't laugh a lot. I didn't really like kids that colored like a kangaroo purple. Like I was like, no, kangaroos are brown. Like, I was just very serious. And it wasn't until I took an acting class that I kind of let myself be myself, be free, be a little bit more lighthearted, enjoy this, this art form. And I think that's also something that kept me wanting to keep going back.
Where did the road launch you? What was the first thing you did?
The first thing I did was actually I worked on Arrow.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Back in
Stephen Amell.
yeah,
Yes.
back in 2013 the episode came out. Yeah, and that was actually kind of like a very bizarre accident. I was working for an extra agency at the time, and I had gotten a call that they wanted somebody to do like a silent on camera role on Arrow, and then I was like, oh sure, I'll do it. And I showed up, and I was kind of just one of the masses, like one of these girls who had been murdered by this serial killer. And I was like, oh, that's fun. And I got to dress up. I got a trailer. It was really fun. They did all, they like drew my veins extra purple. I was like, wow, this is so fun.
Wow.
I thought I only had one day, and then they called me back and they were like, hey, we really liked Jinjara. Can she come back? Like, we want to kind of make her role a bit bigger. And I was like, what? Like I thought the film industry was like that. I was like, okay, great. You do one thing and then they're just going to like keep embellishing, give you, bigger roles. And I realized like, okay, like that was actually just a really fortunate event that happened to me, that I could have my first credit kind of come without an audition or anything. It just kind of, snowballed into my first role. So that was really fun.
So are you deliberately trying to broaden the resume by sort of branching out, doing more voice work, or is that just something that just happened?
Well, I first started studying acting. Actually, I went to University of Victoria, but then I went to a school here called Vancouver Acting School, and that was kind of the first time I heard about voice acting. I never thought about it ever. And they did not a contest, but at the school they had everybody record a radio PSA. And obviously, anyone listening, I'm sure they think I'm like 13 years old. My voice sounds so young, but I'm not. Yeah. I'm a woman. But because my voice sounds so young, I ended up getting this radio PSA at the school where I had to sound like a child who had been bullied. So that was kind of the first time I was like, oh, like maybe this unique voice I have can kind of be something I could use in my career. So that's actually how I decided to get into voice acting.
We hear a lot about it. It comes up almost every show, is like with Vancouver Acting School.
Yeah.
And I bring this up because we have a lot of people that follow and want to like get out of the extra business, go to that next level, do that. So what can you say about Vancouver Acting School?
I think it's a great school. It's a great program. They really taught me everything I knew about getting involved in the business. Before going there, I did not know how to find an agent. I didn't know really how the industry worked. I remember the first audition I did there, they had us all record. The first day, they gave us a set of sides. They said, just do what you think you would do. And I remember on the last day, they showed us that same audition back, and it was just so terrible. Like,
so you just looking at yourself?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like, thank God I went to this school and learned this, because if I had, somehow landed an agent without knowing how, and it just kind of like lucked out, and I went into an audition room and I had done what I did without any of that knowledge, I don't think it would have been a good thing. So they definitely helped to steer me in the direction of learning how the industry works, how to properly audition. There was a business class there, which I found really, really helpful, and it was a great program.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's great to know.
Our guest is Jinjara Mitchell. We are talking everything film from the Short Club in downtown Vancouver. And I'm guessing, and I don't know the answer to this, I'm guessing that if you want to do voice work, there's probably certain agents that deal specifically. It's just like if you want a condo, there's realtors that deal with condos versus residential housing. Is there that much diversity in the casting world where there are people that were better for you to sort of get some voice work than acting work? Does that exist?
Yeah, so most agencies will have like a designated voice agent, and then they'll have agents that don't specialize in voice. Sometimes the voice agent also specializes in film and TV, but you can be with two different agencies for voice and film and TV work.
So do a little My Little Pony for me. Do something.
Oh,
Are we putting you on the spot?
yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
I'll try and remember one of my lines from the time I worked on there. Like, I think I was a perfume sales pony when I worked on My Little Pony. So.
Oh, everybody's been a perfume sales pony. Come on.
So I think my line was something along the lines of like, Essence, this is chocolate essence. Please let me spray you. Like, just something like that.
Have you had those encounters with like youngins that go, "Oh, you're that voice"? Have you had that experience?
Yeah, my nephews are they're in elementary school, so sometimes when I go to pick them up from school with my sister, that some of the little kids there get kind of excited, but yeah.
Well, you've got a new project, the Guava Juice Show.
Mm-hmm.
Let's tell us about that. What is that?
So the Guava Juice Show is a super fun new kids cartoon that's coming out. It's been created by Roy Fabito. He's a YouTuber. I think he has like 16 million subscribers, and his kind of channel started with him doing goofy real life things like taking a bath in Skittles or things like this, and children just love it. And so I guess one of his dreams was to have a cartoon. So now he has created a cartoon with Mainframe Studios, and it is about him and two of his best friends, and they have this hot tub that travels through different dimensions. So it's a really fun, I kind of think of it as like a children's Rick and Morty. Like, it kind of reminds me of that.
Because
so.
Rick and Morty ain't a children's thing.
That definitely is not, but this definitely is. So
for purposes of connection here, your husband Jordan appeared in drag on RuPaul's Celebrity Drag Race. It looked pretty damn good.
Yeah.
What did you think of that whole thing?
Oh my goodness. So I was at a workout class when Jordan called me and said that his agent had called him and asked him if he wanted to go on a show called RuPaul's Drag Race. And I said, let me, just give me a second. So then I was with my friend Emma, and I said, "What? Do you know what this is?" I hadn't heard of it. And she was like, "He has to go on that show. Like, he must." And I was like, "Okay." So I was like, "Jordan, I think you should do this." He talked to his agent. They decided to do it. And yeah, it was insane. I genuinely have never been so impressed by him as a performer as I was when I saw him on that stage, which is interesting because he doesn't do drag regularly. It's not something he does, but it was just the way that he was able to transform and rise to the occasion.
Well, I think also the fact that it takes a certain kind of comfort as a man to do that and be expressive and be accepting and be inclusive. And I think that speaks volumes because I saw the clip and he seemed emotional. He seemed emotional about doing it and recommended that every man should do it at some point. But that must speak volumes about the quality of Jordan as a human being.
Oh, absolutely. I think that was something that really made me feel extremely proud of him. Was that he wasn't, I feel like a lot of things have changed in the last decade as far as what people define as masculine and feminine. And to me, it was really it was very not masculine. That's not the right word, but it was very it just to show his comfort in his who he is as a person, that he wasn't going to define himself as, I'm going to lose masculinity if I were to participate, on a drag race reality show. Like, the fact that he was able to own that part of him and find that side of him that was more feminine and be comfortable enough to do that made him more of a man to me, if that makes sense.
It does.
Yeah.
Did you meet on set?
No, we met at Vancouver Acting School.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Have you ever had the opportunity to work not as husband and wife now, but just have you ever had the opportunity to work together? And the next question is, are you looking to work together at some point? Or maybe Aunt Camille or something like that.
So Jordan and I were actually paired together at VAS for a scene. So we worked together in that regard. We've never worked together professionally, but we did do a audition together once, which was kind of fun. And we are working together right now because him and I are both working on producing a series, which we're going to be pitching in April. So that we are working together on.
Is there a role for a couple of middle-aged men that are hosting a radio talk show by chance?
I will let you know if there is.
You'll keep us in mind. If
Definitely,
that
yes.
I can't compete with that My Little Pony
Yeah.
voiceover. Sorry.
Well, a perfume sales pony, though.
I know.
Let's get the role.
I'm still back with that.
Well, it's been a delight meeting you, Jinjara Mitchell. How do people find you on social media?
My social media is at Jinjara, so that's my first name, Jinjara.
Have you met another Jinjara?
Never.
You're one of a kind.
I'm one of a kind, yes.
Well, it's a pleasure to meet you. Thanks for joining us.
Pleasure to meet you. Thank you for having me.
Cheers.
Cheers.